up, family? Welcome back to another Behind the Rings video podcast.
Yes.
We're doing something special for you guys this episode. We want to address something that's going on in the popular culture right now. Just one, because we're still fairly new to this space, and all of y'all support is very much so appreciated.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we're giving you guys content that's relevant to what you're actively watching and what other people are discussing. So we have a topic on the Netflix movie You People. So if you haven't watched it, don't watch it.
Don't watch this.
Pause it, go watch it, and
then
come back.
Yes.
Because it may be some spoilers in here.
Yes.
So I'll just break the ice. A part of the reason why I wanted to watch it was because we all know that Brittany my baby, has transformed her entire life, her lifestyle, her image, everything, right? And it's a blessing to be able to see you in this light amongst somebody that looks exactly like you. So it was just crazy because I kept putting your face on the screen, but I didn't have to do too much work. So that's really why I was interested.
That so many times.
Man.
He's referring to Lauren London, y'all. I
Yeah.
think I look like Debbie Morgan.
You do. You favor a lot of people.
Too many people. What's the little? I can't think of the girl's name. Marseille.
Yeah.
Whatever.
From Blackish.
Yes.
The daughter in Blackish.
Everybody has told me that I look like her, Gabrielle Union, Debbie Morgan, and in high school, Lauren London, I heard.
Yes.
I think it's because of the dimples. We all have the dimples.
Hey, no, think about it. Of course. The girl with dimples.
But to be fair, Lauren London's dimples in You People were absolutely impeccable. Like, I was watching the movie, but I was watching her dimples because when you have dimples and then you see somebody with dimples, it's a completely different experience. Like, oh my God, that's what my face looks like, because you don't see your face. Now, I can't speak for everybody that has dimples, but I feel my dimples inside of my mouth because my dimples are so deep. Like, inside, it's like...
For real? So like when
yes,
you chew,
so like
you
the
feel your
skin,
cheek.
yes, like you feel the skin, and I've gotten used to it over time. But the bigger that I was, the more that I felt it on the inside, and
Do
now
you accidentally bite them?
all the time, like I get bumps on the inside because I bite.
That is so weird.
It's so bad.
That is so weird.
And y'all, when I was a kid, I got in trouble, and my mom made me write the dictionary. So I looked up what dimples meant, and it is literally a weak muscle in your face. So stop asking God for dimples. If somebody punches you in your face, you're literally gonna get knocked out because we don't have no muscles right here. Please don't come for me. I go to the gym, okay? That was not an opportunity for anybody to be like, oh, let me punch you in the face. I'm not the one.
So we can park in the handicap. Because it's technically a disability.
Now, when I hit him...
It's a disability, right? It's a great point.
Anyways, back on the topic. So that was his reasoning. I wanted to watch You People because, number one, when you hear that title, You People, my antenna went up. I was like,
for sure.
what you mean, You People? And then I saw the trailer when Jonah was talking to Eddie Murphy and Nia Long, and I was like, what are we discussing? Because...
It was an all-star cast. Like,
yes.
It was effortless, too. Like... Nobody was the main character. It was just like a fluid relationship between everybody. It was good.
It was a really, really good movie. And there were some people that I saw had an issue with the fact that it wasn't so romantic. And to comment on that, first of all, not everybody's relationship is lovey-dovey. Not everybody holds hands. Everybody's love story is not The Notebook. Everybody's love, or their dynamic is not love and basketball. Like, there are some people that are really dry.
Yeah.
No offense to the people that are dry. We're not dry.
Yeah, I don't know how you make it work then. Dry.
There are some people that are just dry, and that's just their dynamic. And I think that they captured that dryness so well in You People.
It wasn't even dry to me. It was very subtle, because we all know who Lauren London belongs to, but who she was, know, in a relationship with.
Because as I said on my post, Nipsey's flesh may be deceased, but his spirit is still lurking. And Jonah knew better.
Exactly.
He knew better.
My boy was kind of tiptoeing on screen.
Because we saw the energy. It was like, okay, let's look like a little peg. But I can say that I absolutely fell in love with Jonah Hill's character and him as an actor in general, because he did a phenomenal job. I think that I got a little bit of Superbad out of him, but a little bit of seriousness as well. Like, he played such an impeccable role.
Jonah, you can come to the cookout, bro.
Yes, you can definitely. You can't cook on the grill, but you can definitely come to the cookout. Especially if you have the nice kicks on. But yeah, I thought that their dynamic and their chemistry was really great. I will say that I was a little disappointed in the fact that Nia Long didn't really have many speaking roles. She didn't really have a presence in the movie. She was just a silent fixture. And I'm used to her playing such a dominant and very prominent role in any film that she's in. And to just see her as an accessory was a bit much for me. It was like, I expected her to have a role, and I don't know the actress's name that played Jonah Hill's mother, but she had more of a presence than Nia Long. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like that. And that's just me being biased. That doesn't have to be your opinion, but for me, I wanted to see more of Nia Long stepping in. Eddie Murphy's character had a very, very prominent and dominant role. Yeah. And
I gotta combat that. I gotta combat it. So
I think I'm just used to Nia Long, just like,
that is true,
being the presence, and she was just very.
But look at the role that she was playing. She was the wife of Lauren London, right? Or Eddie Murphy. Yeah, so for just placement purposes, she was placed in a black woman's role. So it doesn't matter the actor. Her going above octave or her doing anything slight could have been so much more dramatized over what the white mom was doing.
True.
Because y'all get the angry black woman.
True.
Or, you know, all of the stigmatism and things that people say compared to the Karen. That's what they were addressing. They had to get down to a lot of the problems that we're facing within our current culture. And her to have that role, okay, it was great to see her, but she couldn't really do too much because the problem doesn't allow with a black mom.
True. And even with the culture of, I think they were Muslim. So it makes sense. So I don't take back my statement, but I kind of alter a little bit because thinking about it, and I don't know too much about the Muslim culture, but I know the woman's role. And she played that very Muslim, very reserved, very husband being the dominant voice and her being the silent voice. So for that, okay, I can see, based on the fact that they did say that their culture was Muslim or their religion was Muslim. Okay. We're gonna transition into the more touchy topic. I don't know who the director, the screenplay writer, they did a hell of a job.
Jonah Hill. He was part producer.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was part written by him, produced.
So now I have a whole different level of respect for this movie because the way that it was articulated about how white people do not understand the culture, and the mother's apology explanation as to how she felt disconnected from the culture and how she was just trying to identify. My gosh. And to have a comparison to that, there was a video that's circulating on TikTok. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was this white woman who was talking about how, white women are not, they're kind of intimidated by black women, and they're intimidated because we have a voice, we know our power, and we operate in that, and they kind of don't, because they don't have that. They weren't raised in that right. And their privilege is not because they're ignorant. It's literally because they didn't have to do what black women had to do. They didn't have to be strong. They didn't have to be, because if either daddy was paying the bills or I was privileged to not have to pay a bill, they never had to deal with the side of life that black women have had to deal with, whether we were from poverty, whether we were from direct descendants of ancestors that were slaves, whatever it was.
Adversity out the gate. For
and she was just articulating that's not their, path, which I can respect that for the intimidation part, because it's like, you're next to this very strong being that's so sure of themselves, and then as a white woman, the only thing that you can do is cry wolf. The only thing that you can do as a white woman is oh my God, they're hurting. So, and that was her argument, and I was like, I understand that, and I respected her for saying that. But in this You People movie, I think that they did a phenomenal job with really shedding light on the lack of resonance with Black culture as a white person, and the fact that Jonah Hill was behind that, really makes that movie so much more incredible, because he understands the disconnection. When I say it was nail on the head, and a part of me was like, even after we watched the movie, we talked for I think about an hour after that. And I was like, what's sad is every single Black person that watched that movie 100% understood. We understood the message. We understood the love story. We got the nuggets that we needed to get out of it.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that there are 80 to 85%, maybe 90% of white people that watched that same movie and did not even understand the movie. They did not understand where Black people feel disrespected, where we feel slighted, where we feel judged, where we feel that we are not being taken seriously, where we still feel like we are this small compared to the world that's this big. Yeah. You know, I feel like
I hope so. They put it out in plain language. Like, they did a really good job of like showing.
But we put it out in plain language too, and they still don't get it.
Here we are.
Do not touch my hair. Oh my God! Did you? Yeah. Nancy, did you not hear me the first time?
Lauren London said that. She was like, I'm not a toy.
Yes.
And that's how Black women are perceived, as just objects rather than actual human beings.
Yeah. I mean, Black people in general. And it's either you're scared of Black men or Black women, or you're intimidated, or you feel that you have to throw around your privilege to make us feel a way. And if we have a white audience, which I know that we do, we're not racist people. I am not intimidated, slighted, scared, any of those things against somebody who is not a Black person at all. So that kind of doesn't bother me. But I will say that when it comes to dealing with white people sometimes, we've had several conversations where we're like, I don't think that white people understand how much Black people have to think about their every move. Yeah. And we're trained from like birth damn near to really micromanage and calculate all of our movements. So I ask Bae constantly, like, you know, in this scenario, how do you move? How do you maneuver through this situation? And I think we were watching, what was that, Best Man Holiday? The Best Man Final Chapters. And there was a situation with Mert. And, you know, he was getting into the taxi, and the white woman had her dog, and she was in the taxi, like trying to get in the taxi. Mind you, Mert and his daughters were already in the taxi, like they were already sitting in there. And she was acting the fool. Police came, and it just became a typical scenario with a Black man and a white woman. And then they kept showing like different moments when he saw her sitting at lunch with her friends, and he was trying to figure out how to address the situation. And
it all concluded with him going to jail.
Right. Everything was him ended up being an angry Black man, him ending up getting arrested or dying or going to jail. Like it was always a negative alternative for a Black man just standing up for himself, just defending himself, just wanting to voice the fact that you did something that affected me and damn near hurt my feelings. It compromised my integrity. It compromised me as a man. It compromised me being able to protect my daughters. Like, you put me in a situation, and watching that actually made me cry, because I was like, damn, I am a Black woman, but when I assess the different checkpoints that a Black man has to go through just to exist, ladies, my sisters, my Black women, stop belittling Black men, because the things that they have to go through, we don't have to endure. And I say that very lightly, because we do have the Sandra Bland case that is literally one of the examples that so many of us lean on. Like, no, what about Sandra Bland? But you have to understand that being a Black man, especially a Black man with locks, tattoos, any type of height, automatically intimidates everybody. I mean, we go to a predominantly older white gym, and to see how these women and these men clutch their pearls when they see these black tall men working out is absolutely absurd. I'm like, I'm not intimidated by you. Why? I'm just working out. I'm not here to look at you. I'm not here to talk to you. I'm literally here to just work out. And you have two different type of defenses. You have the white people that feel that they have to remind you of the fact that you're black by just jumping on a machine or making you feel like you need to move. And then you have the second ones where they try to overly befriend you. They try to overly talk to you and just like, hey, how are you? Yeah, like, hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, I love your shirt. And I have on a shirt that says black is power or melanin. I love my melanin. Like, Nancy, cut it out.
Like, you don't have to do that.
You don't.
I see that you see me. Hi.
Right.
The same thing that you would do.
You can't miss me. I'm 6'7". Well, you're 6'7". I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, even the other day, and we'll get back on topic after this, but the other day I go into the bank and I just had to do a self-assessment before I even walk in. It's like, okay, you're in a predominantly white area.
Mm-hmm.
I had to debrief myself. You feel me? So I have to walk in with my wallet already out. I have to go, and even though nobody's in line, go sign in, follow the rules. It's little things that just dismantle the aggression, or it dismantles or disarms the statistic. Yeah. And even in doing all of those things, it still resulted in me feeling like I felt my color. I felt my skin color.
A black woman.
By a black woman. At that.
Which is crazy.
It was obvious. Like, you see how I'm speaking. I can communicate. I'm not, bruh, this, yeah, shout it. I'm not like that. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. My posture is straight. We're making eye contact, and it's still, they can't see that. Yeah. They see what they want to see. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But the movie did a great job of disarming a lot of the stereotype and shedding light on how we can resolve it. Yeah. So the whole topic of this video is more so about the parents being involved in the marital part of your relationship. Yeah. So that was a big portion of the storyline. Yeah. Because every checkpoint between Lauren London and Jonah was very much so like, okay, so you got a black ass family and you got a white ass family, and how are we gonna get them together? Because they are very like black and very white, and they're button heads.
Yeah, and not only was Jonah's family white, but they were Jewish. Yeah. Now, I'm from New York, so I already know about the Jewish culture. And then you have the very dominant, very prominent Muslim culture. So you had two very, very strong religions, very strong cultures, very strong family values, literally trying to come together and agree, which was comical in itself, because that whole dynamic, I mean, every time those families got together, the dynamic between them was literally like, okay, so who's gonna pop it off first? Because we know that there's gonna be something. Like we already can get into the vibe and sense the energy. Like somebody's gonna say something stupid or offensive, and there were many checkpoints within that. But one of the things that stood out, which is why we wanted to create this video, was how intensely and how much both Jonah and Lauren London wanted to include their parents and their family into the process of their marriage. And for me personally, like when we got married, I didn't really care if our parents accepted us or not. I didn't really, and I cared, but I didn't. I cared that they were able to resonate with my happiness with my husband, but your opinion of my husband didn't matter to me. Your opinion of whether he was a good fit for me didn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, this is our union. This is something that we have to live with. It's not anything that parents have to live with. And it's this quote or line, a program that says, when you marry, and this is one thing that my sister-in-law actually told me. She was like, well, when you marry the man, you marry his family. Absolutely not. Like, when I marry him because he's the only person I have to answer to. I'm the only person that he has to answer to. You leave and cleave. So you can't say leave and cleave in one sentence and then turn around and say, but you marry the family. And I understand the context of that, but I think it unconsciously programs us to believe that our family has jurisdiction or a say in our marriage, who we love, how we love them. You don't get to decide who I sleep in bed with. Yeah. You don't get to decide if they're a good fit for me or not, because you only know this much of me. Yeah. There are parts of me that as a parent you're never going to know, because I have that level of respect and we have a different dynamic relationship. So you know the child version of me. It doesn't matter how old you get, ladies and gentlemen, your parents are always going to see you as their child. So they're always going to put you in this very innocent category. Even if you was a baby kid, even if you were a hot ass mess, they're always going to put you in the category of a child, because that's the role that you played in their life. Yeah. But you also have to understand that you are more than just their child. You're a man or woman, or whatever you choose to, non-binary, whatever you choose to identify with. But you're a human being that has different likes that your parents may not agree with. You have things that you love that your parents may not agree with. You have spiritual and religious views that your parents may not agree with. And those are the things that your partner may agree with, that your partner may love, that your partner may resonate with. And you can't put yourself in a box because, well, I expected you to marry a lawyer. I expected you to marry this. Okay, but your expectations do not dictate what I choose. Ever.
Agreed.
Like
she could have did this video by herself.
I mean, I think that was the hardest thing. Like when my mom and my stepdad had a conversation with you, and knowing that they set expectations, I was grateful that they sat you down and kind of said, listen, we're coming from a protection standpoint. Brittany's ready to be married. Like, this is the conversation that they had with him. Brittany's ready to be married. And if you're not ready to be married, then leave her alone. Yeah. Period. And I was like, I mean, thank you for that part. But then everything after that, you can't set your expectations for my relationship that you're not a part of. Like, you can't. And it's not to be mean. It's just you need to know your place. Yeah. You don't have no place in my relationship. You don't have no place in my marriage. You're not paying our bills. You're not sleeping with us. You're not taking care of our kids. You may watch them for a weekend or for a period of time, but you're not raising our children. You're not dictating our household. So I don't feel that, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't feel that making sure that your family touch and goes and agrees with your partner should be part of the process of from engaged to married. Because why?
Yeah. Just
because why?
Out of general respect, like if your parents didn't agree with, us moving forward to get married, I would just have to respectfully disagree. Right. Because at the end of the day, as long as she's agreeing, then that's all that matters. We can move away, we can set our own boundaries and just not include them. But just out of general respect and how I was raised, yeah, I'm gonna approach them. I'm gonna ask for your blessing, of course. But I don't believe that it's the final piece, or even a piece that needs to be checked off. Like, we don't have to agree with the parents being okay with our union. Yeah, it's our union. Yeah, and that's just how I feel about it. And that whole asking for the blessing thing, I never understood that. Like, why are you asking permission to? And that could be a guy thing. I've never understood that, because when we were dating, I was like, you don't have to like ask my dad for my hand in marriage. You don't have to ask my mom. Like, I would appreciate it, just out of a program state of mind, because I saw this. It's hilarious. I saw this meme that said traditions are literally what? Peer pressure from dead people. And I was like, you onto something. This dad was saying, his son said, tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. And I was like, you're right. And when I read that, I literally had like all the programs. And when I say programs, when we're born, our parents teach us things based on how their parents taught them things, based on how their parents taught them things. And this is called a program. This is how our brains are wired. And then we have society that also programs us. Yeah. And this goes a little bit deeper once you dive into personal development, spirituality, when you start tapping into frequencies and how those things work. But programming of your mind begins with your parents or whoever raises you, your guardian, your direct influence. And when you think about the fact that you have to ask permission
to a non-player character within your relationship for permission to continue to play in a game that they're not even included in.
Yeah.
Why?
I think
for what?
For men, especially like if a guy, because I have a daughter, so I would.
You're also crazy over your child.
I'm very protective over my children, and I want to know
very
that.
Protective.
I want to know that anybody that they wed is somebody that's going to benefit them. Is somebody that they love and is genuine on both ends. It needs to be reciprocated. It doesn't need to have any ulterior motive besides just love between them two. So I want to know that anybody that I'm leaving my children with, that I'm kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they're going to do what they do. But for me doing it, it was, it's kind of like when somebody comes in your home or they get in your car. If they don't speak, they don't say hello, like, you in my home.
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of how I see it. It's like, I'm not marrying your family. I'm not marrying your mom or dad.
Right.
But anytime we come around, I don't want it to be like, dang, I didn't even say hi the first time I got in your car.
Yeah.
Or like, it's always this riff every time I come around your family. And it's like, I want you to feel comfortable us going over here on Thanksgiving and us getting along. And so it all starts from that question of just asking for the blessing. So it's not necessarily a tradition to me. It's just, that's how I see it.
I agree and disagree. I agree in the fact that, yes, when you become a part of someone's family, especially as a woman who is going to be taking the last name, like I'm releasing myself from my family to be a part of someone else's family. Yes, I do want, family to feel comfortable around family. Yes. But where I disagree is that, let's say Autumn is like, Daddy, Mom, this is the guy that I want to marry. We have our conversations with him. We ask questions. Stop. She's like, this is my person, and we meet him, and he is a drug dealer. He's been in and out of jail. But that's because of your standard. But if she's like, but Daddy, I love him, and I know that he is going through a phase right now because that's how I defended you. You gotta be fair. And no, he's not no jailbird or druggie, but it's like, you're going through a season right now. And because I see you and not your season or your circumstance, me coming to my parents and be like, this is my person, or our daughter coming to us and saying, this is my person. And we're like, okay, but your circumstances tell me that you are not equipped to deal with my daughter. But it's like, but our child sees past that. They see the person, they see their heart. Yeah. It's like, me saying, no, he's not your person, which is what Eddie Murphy did to Jonah. He was like, I don't think that you are capable of being with my daughter. And I don't think you're her person. And it was because of his filter. It was because of his programming. It was because of his expectations. And then you put that onto the person that's trying to pursue your child. And then you talk to your child and you're like, nah, like, I don't see that person for you. So now you start... You form a program within your child that says, you know what? I'm going to start unconsciously picking apart the things that my parents zoomed in for me. You are in and out of jail. Why can't you get it together? And then they start going apart because they start seeing all of the things that your parents pointed out. And it's not like you didn't see it before, but it's more magnified now because now it's going to be the topic of conversation. Every time I go to my mom and I'm venting about this about him, it's like, well, she's bringing up, well, you knew he was this before you got with him. You knew he was this before you married him. And that falls along the lines of the leave and cleave because, when you bring your partner or your spouse to your parents as here's my present, this is what I want. And they're like, no, that's a dub. It's a no. You've already set up a tension. And I can honestly say that I have gotten very distant from my mom for a multiplicity of reasons. But one of the things that started the distance was because anytime I vented about things, because me and my mom were disgustingly close. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean, but we were that mom and daughter that people envied. Like literally envied because we were that close. Like we were in tune. Like how y'all see me and him in tune, that was me and my mom. And as I healed and grew up, that became distant. But anyways, the reason why I did that distance was because anytime I vented to my mom about him, she was bringing up things that she knew based on the collection of stories that I've told her in the past. And even when we got older, because we've known each other from 14 to now, even though he has elevated and grown, it was still in the back of her mind, well, in 2016, he did da-da-da-da. And I remember you told me in 2008, he did da-da-da-da. And then in this time, and it's like, but today,
Yeah.
he's not that person. Today, he's grown. Today, he's moved forward. Today, this is the current circumstance that we're dealing with. I'm not coming to you asking you to evaluate all, 15 plus years that we've known each other for you to give me advice. I'm asking you to deal with this situation in this moment. And even friends do it. Like we have friends that we met in high school and friends that we met in college that have known us through all of our mess to now. And it wasn't difficult for my best friend and our mutual friend to come to with things, because she never brought up stuff from the past. She was never like, well, he was this person back then, because she knew. She was there. She wiped my tears. Like, she was there. She saw the lowest of the low between us and then the highest of the highs. But it was never oh, well, you remember what he did in college, girl. It was okay, well, he's a new person.
Yeah.
And we're going from here. But when you come from a parent standpoint, it's like, no, I'm in protection mode. Like, he did why would you expect him to be any different?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing up something that happened way back when, and he's not even that person anymore? So it's, again, things like that kind of steer me away from wanting to be too overly involved in my children's process of marriage, because what I want for you is always going to be top tier. I'm your mother.
Yeah.
That's your father. We're always going to want the top tier experience for you. But that doesn't mean that that's what you should want for you, because what ultimately you want for you is based off of your experience with that person, because y'all experience something that we can't experience with that person.
Yeah.
I'm not finna sleep with your man. I'm not finna sleep with your wife. Like, I that's not something that you have to deal with. That you have to live with that. You have to be united with that for the rest of your life. That's on you, and I can't make that choice for you because I made my choice because I'm married. And that's just my personal opinion and preference. Like, I've never really understood that. But again, I'm not a man. I ain't never had to ask nobody's hand in marriage. I brought his raggedy butt I was like, this is my man. You see the screen? This is my man. I don't care if you don't like him. I don't care if you don't agree. This is my man. And to be fair, I did date somebody that my mom chose. And we just weren't compatible, and not in a bad way. He's an amazing human being, but he wasn't my person. He was a person that would have matched with her had he been her age, but he wasn't my person. And I realized that's really what it was. He wasn't my person. He was her person in a younger body, but he wasn't my person. And that made me realize I needed to find what was for me. Like, me and my mom had check boxes. Like, we wanted tall, dark, and handsome. Dark, like blurple. Like, we love that kind of, sorry, babe. And the guy that she is not. The guy that she chose was my skin complexion, and he was a really, well-rounded guy. He was from Decatur, had a little rough around the edges, but for the most part, he was a very smart, very, very well-mannered, went to the top school, high school at the time, really great, well-rounded guy. And families were very similar, very, very, very similar dynamic. So for her, it checked off boxes. And then she started to pressure him. Okay, well, you can't be a cute dummy, so what college are you going to? Like, she would always drill him. Did the same thing to him. And Dorian's like, yeah, I'm not with all that. This is my path. And he stood in that. Like, he stood in the, nah, college isn't really for me. I'm kind of being an entrepreneur. And my mom was like, well, what makes you qualified to be my daughter? And he was like, because I'll be able to provide for her. I'll be able to protect her. I'll be able to do da-da-da-da. And this was before we were even together. Like, we were just kicking it. Like, we were just chilling. No title. And she was drilling him like that. And this guy he stood his ground. He was like, no, I'm not bending. I'm not doing the college thing. Now, the guy that she had chose for me bended. He was like, oh yeah, I'll go to school. We went on a college tour together in Tennessee, everything. I mean, like, literally, he was adhering to all of her checkpoints. And I didn't like that. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel protected, and I didn't feel like he had a voice. and I was in high school. And that doesn't make him a bad person, but that didn't make him my person. I needed somebody to stand their own ground, because if you couldn't stand up to my mom respectfully and say, no, this is what I want to do. This is how I plan to lead our family. This is how I plan to stand in the gap for my wife and my kids. You know, that kind of made me feel like I wasn't a little bit secure. Like, how are you going to be able to defend me? And he did that. And that was when we weren't even an item. We weren't even exclusive. We were just kind of coming out of our best friend title to figure out if this is something that we even wanted to test the waters in. And yeah, like, I was turned on by the fact that he was holding his own. I was like, yo, this man is like, no, college ain't for me. Now we ended up going to college together because he's possessive.
Possessive.
You are.
It was between that and this other technical school, but once I found that you were going there, they had the same program, and I was like, okay, it makes sense, whatever. And I knew some other people that was going. You were maybe like 98.9%.
Exactly.
But there were other factors.
You was away from home. That was the only other 0.2% factor.
I guess.
But anyways, we really want to know what you guys felt about the movie. Please comment. Please let us know how you felt about the movie, because we have a lot of touching points, but this video is long enough. But we really want to know, like, what vibe did you catch from it? How did you feel? And mainly the question that we have is, what is your take on including your family through your marriage process?
Yeah. I got some homework to do, especially if you ain't see the movie. Now you know what to expect, but now you can watch with intention.
Y'all, it's such a good movie. Yeah. Get past the fact that they are not super romantic.
It was romantic. It was romantic.
It was romantic in a very LA kind of way. Like, I think LA people show their love very differently. I don't know, because I think of Kyla Pratt and her man. I don't know. What is his name? I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be offensive. I do not know his name. I know that he has his own tattoo shop, but I know Kyla Pratt because that's my sister in my mind. Anyways, their dynamic is very weird. Like, it's very just chill. Like, that Cali people are very chill. So I think they really embody that LA kind of Cali vibe. Yeah. Like, they had a really chill relationship.
And they also played around the respect for Nipsey.
Yes. Nipsey's presence was very much so in the movie, with little music here and there, with little
showing his
murals, yeah, little things like that. I think that, and the fact that it was based in LA, I think that was very important to Lauren, and I am very appreciative of the fact that they did that for her, did that for the sake of Nipsey. Yeah, it was very much so.
Let them watch the movie.
Yeah, it was good, y'all. But please let us know your take on it, how you liked it, what resonated with you, what didn't, what things that you noticed that we didn't comment on. Yeah. Thank y'all.
And no, we're not sponsored by Netflix or the movie at all. We just
eventually we will be though. Exactly. We're gonna be sponsored by these big names. Nike, I'm coming for you. Target, I'm coming for you. Netflix, we coming for you. Okay, we're doing it. It's happening. But not right now. But thank y'all so much for tuning in and rocking with us, from Happily Ever Alpha to Behind the Rings. Yeah. We appreciate you guys.
Love you, family.
Bye.
Peace.